Hello everyone, Shadefire here, and today I'm taking a first impressions look at the early access Hardspace Shipbreaker, a game that only came to my attention in the last few weeks, but actually seems like a pretty cool thing. It's all about breaking down ships into salvageable parts without killing yourself. This is how it starts though. We don't get a main menu or anything, which is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine when games insist on dropping you in before you get a menu. But you can see here, we have a bunch of emails about how much money we owe, and our Shipbreaker application has been updated. Greetings, Citizen LF 2111806, or 80S, I don't know why I said 6. Congratulations on acceptance into the Links Pave the Way to the Galaxy program. From over 124.8 million applicants, you were chosen based on above average, exceptional physical and cognitive ability. Participation in this program can be lucrative and rewarding depending on a willingness to follow the vision and processes of Lynx Corporation. You've been assigned to Salvage Station number 42, designation Morrigan. This station currently has no additional personnel, but if you're able to demonstrate the ability to build and grow a profitable operation, a number of exciting opportunities await you. Remember, employment in the Pave the Way to the Galaxy program is at the sole discretion of Lynx Corporation and can be revoked at any time. Acts of insubordination or malice will not be tolerated. On receipt of your electronic signature, a shuttle will be deployed immediately to your current location to deliver you to your post. Training will commence immediately on arrival. Finalize your info on the following pages to confirm employment. Alright, so Shade of Fire. Select Revival Package. We proudly offer our Body and Mind Revival program to new employees. Below are the details of your selected Revival Package. Alright, so we have a $150,000 cloning fee, but we get as many clones as we want. Voice ID verification, not in the game. Orientation preference, I guess not inverted. And we'll go with chicken, though that implies that there's plastic in our chicken. Please agree to each statement. I have no criminal record in the Terran or Martian zones. A record in the Jovian frontier is acceptable. I'm not a member of and have never associated with a workers' union. Already getting into the crushing capitalism of the future. And the present. I have completed my annual medical exam and have been cleared of having McCullough's lung. Have no commercial or real estate interests on Luna, the asteroid belt, or the nation state of Arizona. I will bring a positive attitude and problem-solving mindset to work every day. I understand and accept the health risks associated with long-term exposure to a van der Waals field, and I vote for Chancellor Chun Zhang in the Pan-American Senate election. So let's learn how to break a ship. So this is early access, but it sounds like the entire first act of the campaign is in here, which they say is about 15 hours. So it's a decent little early access release. And what really caught my attention about this game was just they put out a trailer recently that literally just walks you through how to break down a certain class of ship, and at first I was like, eh, and then as it goes, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Let's get this when it comes out.
Today he steps into the yard to earn his wages working hard.
I wasn't expecting this little intro, though.
I pray to the stars and heaven above to return my daddy to those he loves.
So we're a working man with a family.
Time when he and death meet. Bless the next cutter that takes his seat.
The Shipbreaker's Prayer. So I guess we're on a space station, but we're just in orbit of Earth. I mean, generally, you know, the kind of scrapper mercenary always does have a kind of appeal for me in sci-fi settings. Whether they're just looking for salvage in old derelict ships or breaking them down. Teach me how to ship. You must enter the hab to end your shift, otherwise you will lose your progress and die in space.
Welcome to Morgan Station. Before we jump in here, Cutter, it's customary to observe a moment of silence for a departing shipbreaker. You'll soon learn this type of thing doesn't happen very often up here.
Dying or...
Okay. Well, my name is Will. I'll be your eyes and ears when you're in the yard. Used to be a cutter myself until there were some complications with one of my clone jobs, but never you mind about that.
I don't have legs anymore.
Let's get to work.
They never grew.
Go ahead and open your work order, and let's get started.
So it controls pretty much as you'd expect for a game with this kind of anti-gravity, which is Q and E will rotate you in place. Alright.
You ever want to pay off your debt like Sullivan did? It's all about completing your work orders.
Okay, we need to thrust forward for 3 seconds, and thrust backwards. So it does have inertia. You do actually have to stop yourself if you're drifting. Descend for 3 seconds. C. I can't see my menu because it's too yellow. Ascend for 3 seconds. We are learning how to fly in space. And brake is control. Not sure what we're using to brake.
These next two maneuvers are tough for most worms to wrap their heads around because most of you have never spent time in zero-G. We call them rolls. Give them a shot.
Unlike a NASA astronaut, we got absolutely no zero-G training before they sent us into space.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, this here is your trusty training vessel. On it and in it are salvageable objects to cut your teeth with. Let's give her a go, shall we?
So the volume's turned all the way up, but this is one of those weird games where it's kind of quiet regardless. Alright, so we have a left click to grapple, F to push an object when grappled. Look for the detach points. So like, can I grapple this? That pushed me. It didn't seem to push the thruster. Use the grapple to detach an antenna. Okay. Let's pull that off, and then we fire it onto here, which is like a sticky field.
Deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
And then grab the other one. So this part's easy. We don't have to do any cutting to get these off. They just pop right off.
Well, congratulations there, Cutter. Your very first pieces of salvage. Another billion or so of them antenna, and you will have completely wiped out your debt. I'm kidding, of course. All right, Cutter. You ready to perform a little zero-G ship surgery?
Yes, please.
Let's boot up your scanner and see what we see. Now we're looking for cut points. Think of them as the chunks of glue that hold the key structural segments of the ship
I believe they are these yellow bits.
Bingo.
Okay, so... what are we trying to separate here? We need the nacelle, which is... I think just this whole middle bit? Or is it... okay, it's these things. So those are only attached by there. My controller is vibrating because it's plugged in. Alright, there we go. Unplug my controller. So we melt that cut point, and now this should be detached. Oh, no, there might be another one on the other side. No, it seems like it's detached now. It's just very heavy. I know we also get tethers, which makes that easier to do with large objects. Didn't quite make it. Okay, so we just, there we go.
Salvage
Touchdown.
secured.
Took a minute.
Credits deposited.
But yeah, because we're in space, we can kind of freeform move around this. We don't have to stay oriented vertical. Guess we can just kind of do this. And touchdown.
And that's what it's all about, Cutter. The more work orders you complete, the closer you get to hitting your certification quotas. Go ahead and see where you're at on earning your first cert.
Okay, view certification quotas. Which are, I guess, up here. On our little control platform that somehow is just floating in the middle of the space station. So you notice we have an O2 meter down there, or at least you would, if the whole HUD wasn't yellow on top of yellow.
Welcome to Vendatron 9000.
Okay, this is just for buying stuff. I was gonna say, you saw there's an oxygen there, but it's not actually going down right now.
Have a nice day.
Oh, it's in the pause menu. Work order objective. Complete, 16 of 16.
Earning certs gives you access to better upgrades and perks for your tools, gear, and equipment, as well as access to more valuable ships back in your hab. Speaking of which, let's mosey on over to your personal habitation unit right now, because that's what you do when you finish your shift. You didn't think Lynx made you sleep out here in the yard, did you?
I mean,
Weaver out.
it's pretty much floating in the middle of the yard, so we are more or less sleeping in the yard. Alright, so that's the tutorial done with. Hopefully we can actually break down a ship this time. Basic cert. +1 modular laser cutter upgrades unlocked. Ship class 1 certification. So the things it didn't introduce there is there are 3 main systems you have to worry about in addition to just the cut points, which is electricity, coolant, and fuel. So obviously you can do things like you have to empty out the fuel from the fuel lines before you cut them, otherwise they'll explode in your face. You can see our debt is 999,814,000 credits. We got a long way to go.
Top of the morning to you, Cutter. As you know by now, this is your hat. I know it feels a bit flat right now, but I hear Lynx is looking into fixing it up real nice for you sometime in the near future. Anyway, says here you're gonna need an upgrade to complete your next certification rank. You're gonna like this one, Cutter. Let's check it out now, shall we?
Deli split saw 7900. Bifurcated beam cutting head fires a splitting beam for speedier and more capable ship disassembly. Cutting head can be rotated for ease of use. Okay, so this is like the Dead Space plasma cutter tool.
Good. Now let's get back to the yard so you can try this sucker out.
Also, you saw there, we do actually have to repair our tools.
Okay, before we hop back in the yard, I want to show you the ship catalog. Here is where you find a selection of ships Lynx has deemed ready for salvage. As I said before, earning certifications will open up higher grade ships. But we gotta learn to walk before we run, Cutter, so let's get back to finishing your plate on that Lynx training vessel. Weaver out.
Okay, so we're not quite done with this yet. Mandates each cutter salvage the maximum amount of value possible in a timely manner. Rewards and recognition may be given to top performers.
All right, Cutter, another shift, another credit.
So I guess you don't have to
Today's
finish.
goal is to complete your certification rank 2. And in order to do that, we're going to have to light up that new split saw mode you've just upgraded in the hab. Go ahead and equip it now.
You don't have to finish the whole ship before you can save the game. Going back to the hab will take a break, so you can come back to it later, which is nice, because I assume some of these larger ships are going to take a long time to break down.
Nice work there, Cutter. It's time to take the training wheels off and let you loose on this thing. My advice is to knock out your work order first, and then see if you can salvage every last bit of the training vessel. We call it using the whole buffalo. Waste not, want not, right, Cutter? Go get 'em, Tiger. We're out.
So, what is there left to salvage here? We got a processor, we got a furnace, and we've got that. So, I'm guessing some of this stuff we can toss in there to break down. I assume the metal we toss in there and everything else we toss in the processor, and the actual parts is what we throw down there. So, look at here, like, what do we actually need to break off? I guess we'll do the cut points first. I was wondering if I could get both of these in one, but I don't think that works for this. Okay, so can I just pull this panel off? Yep, that whole thing comes off. So what is this made out of? This is nanocarbon. Can I just toss this whole thing in there, or... Okay, that's nanocarbon as well, so yeah, I think this whole thing we can process, I guess? It didn't actually say which one goes where. Wow, this is actually really hard to send these things in without the tethers. Let's see if this is the right hole to shove it in.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Okay. And I'm guessing we throw the aluminum into the furnace. So I was hoping we'd get into an actual ship before the end of this video, but it'll take a moment to break this thing down. Okay, so we got aluminum panels in the center, and I'm guessing those things in the inside are the soft crates. So we're gonna need to cut off the whole thing. I think we're gonna need to, you know, make a cut to get in here. Now, can I peel those open? No. So I'm gonna have to make another cut, like here. It's got the right kind of space western background music for this job, though. But this seems like a really relaxing kind of game. I mean, sure, you might accidentally rupture a fuel line or detonate a reactor and kill yourself. But, you know, then you come back to the job the next day as a clone. I don't know if I actually can... I thought I cut everything off that this is attached to. It seems like it's not actually attached anymore. Yeah, if you try to shove something that's still solidly stuck on there, you'll go flying. But I believe we have to worry about thruster fuel as well once we're out of the tutorial. Alright, let's deal with this piece first before we try to figure out how we're going to get that other one off. This just seems like my kind of weirdly chill game. Like, I don't get into a lot of these simulated... Well, I don't know, would you call this a simulator if it's simulating something that doesn't quite exist yet? But it seems like my chill kind of slow game. You know, for some people it's house building or house taking apart. But for me, shipbreaking is where I want to be. Alright, so we gotta crack this thing open somehow. Problem is the supports are on the inside. Maybe we'll just try the regular cutter. So I feel like this piece should come out, unless it's attached to something on the inside. I guess we also have the option to just vaporize it, which
Destroyed. Please refrain from damaging salvage.
loses us some salvage, but, you know, gotta get in here somehow. I should have just made a smaller hole, though. Doesn't seem like we really needed the extra cutter for this, though. Uh-oh.
Warning. Fire damage. Lynx recommends maintaining a safe distance from flammable items.
Throw that down there while it's still on fire.
Credits transferred.
Oh. Pop the bottom off. Alright, so these panels are aluminum, and that means we gotta melt them down. I think we should be able to just throw this whole cube in there if it'll let us pick it up. Another soft crate here. It's a little bit of extra salvage.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
It says I destroyed a nanocarbon. Is there any more nanocarbon in here? Okay, this stuff is nanocarbon. So I need to get back in here. And do another cut. So I'm not sure if I can remove this nanocarbon. I'm not sure that I can separate it from these. I think it's... I mean, I guess I could cut all the way around it, but that seems like a waste. Also, can't cut this panel. Is that nanocarbon? Okay, yeah, this whole panel is nanocarbon, so that's why. Let's pull that off. And huck it in the processor. I mean, it's handy to have the space station align the way it is, because you can kind of realign yourself to standard verticality using the walls. Be like, oh, that's the way I should be kind of facing to be up.
Valuable object processed.
So I believe the rest of this is all aluminum, you know, aside from the nanocarbon connectors. But I think this whole thing might still be a little too big.
Deposit accepted.
Huh. That's, I was hoping to cut, you know, the whole thing off. But just align yourself like this, you know, cut right along the seams. So obviously you're not going to be able to salvage every tiny little bit. Some of it's going to get destroyed in
Material deposited.
the process of breaking the ship up, but the more you can salvage, the better. Okay, I want to a line up here. I'm kind of wedged in this corner. I want to get a nice cut right along the seam. I like that they have the HUD visuals so you can perfectly tell when it's actually going to make the cut. Except apparently it didn't cut through the frame. Alright. I was hoping, again, that we would get into some more advanced systems, but I wasn't sure if I should do the tutorial first and then continue. Okay, that corner is good and separated. That piece is almost separated. Gotta cut this little bit here. This game would be a lot harder without that break. Just want to cut this without burning through the rest of it. Okay, this piece is good and separated now. Hopefully that'll drift in.
Raw material processed. Credits
Okay.
deposited.
So now we just got to separate this thing. Guess do the same thing. Yeah, I think the panel I can't cut at the same time as the support because the support is slightly separate. Unless I line it up like that. My cutter is slightly not wide enough to cut the whole thing. Okay. Now that panel's separate, that panel's separate. So we should be able to huck it all in and call that a ship. Broken. There's something funny about the idea, though, that they're making these training ships specifically to be broken down. Like, are they made out of the same materials that we're breaking out of them?
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
Alright. Is there anything left?
Nice job, Cutter. Now get back to your hab to end your shift and spend them shiny new Lynx tokens on upgrading your gear. We've wrapped.
So we get the Lynx tokens separately from the credits. And that way we have an upgrade currency without increasing our debt. Alright. So I don't think we're going to do another ship, but we'll at least check out the next ship. Alright. We made it to rank 3. +1 handheld utility grapple. So we made 158,000 credits, which puts a very slight dent in our debt. But hey, I guess eventually we're going to get up to really big ships. Taken apart like a capital ship that's being decommissioned.
Well, congratulations on completing certification rank 2 there, Cutter. Now that you've proven you kind of know what you're doing out there, Lynx has a present for you. Go ahead and make your way to the equipment upgrade screen and let's see what we see.
Alright, so now we have a grapple upgrade, which is the tether. Yeah, so they're just a much stronger pull than just our little shove.
Repeat after me, Cutter. Tethers are your friends.
Tethers are your friends.
Select the next ship and head out into the yard to try them out.
Alright, so ship catalog. We can get this mackerel, which also doesn't look like much of an actual ship. I think the one I saw was called the Gecko, which is probably the one after this one. Alright, we got 3 days. Claiming a new ship will clear the salvage bay of your existing ship. All remaining salvage will be forfeit to Lynx. So I guess we could have become a shipbreaker without being in crippling debt. We just already had crippling debt before becoming a salvager.
This here macro is stripped down, but there's still plenty there for us to sink our teeth into, such as how we're going to deal with the pressurized areas. But before we get into all that, let's try out your tethers. Your tethers are far stronger than the line on your grapple. Use them when you're trying to move objects that are much heavier than you are. Also, tethers stack, meaning the more you use, the stronger the pull you get out of them. If you put them in the right place, that is.
Alright, so let's use a tether on one of these twin nacelles. These thrusters are the nacelles, right? Okay, yeah, it says at the bottom there. So, I think there's only one cut point holding these things on. Right here. So we switch to our cutter, we rotate. Kind of angle myself so I'm actually lined up. So, like, I enjoy this kind of stuff. It's not super complicated, but as you go, you'll have to actually figure this out more and more on the fly. So we separate that, and we're salvaging these, so put a tether there, connect it to there, and it should just yank all the way down. Though I believe tethers are another thing that we have a limited number of. Could be wrong, though. It says we have 1,000 at the top, so again, we're still in tutorial zone.
Nice work, Cutter. Like I said, tethers are your friends. Once you get the hang of them, you can get pretty creative with how you use them. Alright, now for the fun stuff. And when I say fun, I mean incredibly dangerous. Next, we're going to learn about pressurization. According to links, decompression events are the #1 cause of death, and as a result, cloning. Alright, let's open up your scanner and see what we see.
I guess pressure would be the fourth system you have to worry about, because, you know, sometimes you can have ships where some parts of them are pressurized and others are not, so you get blasted into a door if you open a depressurized area.
Transferred.
Okay, so what am I looking for here? He didn't actually say, it just said open the scanner, and then I don't have an objective now. So I guess we're going to want to get in the airlock.
Crack into this ship without making her pop. See that airlock over there? Let's go check it out.
Okay. Activate airlock console.
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
So we go in here, and then we repressurize. Because otherwise, if we open this door, it's going to blast us out.
Using airlocks is always a good idea, but there may be times later when you encounter ships without functioning airlocks. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Cutter. For now, let's get inside.
See, this is the part where I actually think it gets really cool.
All right, let's see if there's a way to depressurize this sucker so we can get to work on it. Look for an atmosphere regulator. If it's working, this device will let us depressurize the room safely. You don't want to trigger a violent decompression, believe me.
I was gonna say, this is the part where it gets really cool, where you're actually going inside the ship to cut it apart from the inside. So there's the reactor, which is, as you might expect, worth a lot of money, but is also going to explode violently, or start to, once you separate it from the coolant lines. And I think that's unavoidable. You just have to be quick. So you already have to have like a hole cut for it before you separate it from the coolant lines. Alright, so here's the cockpit. Computer terminal, computer terminal. We're looking for the atmospheric control. Oh. It's over here. Atmospheric regulator.
Alrighty, I'm lighting up your work order with the rest of the objectives for this ship.
Look at the reactor. Okay, so do we pressurize just the or depressurize just the cockpit? Guess we're gonna find out.
There she is.
Nope.
The reactor. That's your meal ticket right there, Cutter. Alright, this one's pretty easy. She should just slide out of her coolant casing with a good yank from your grapple. But before you do that, it's always a good idea to clear a path for her straight to the barge, because once you pull it, she starts melting down. And when it comes to reactors, you never know how many ticks you got till she goes boom. Alright, the way you complete your work order from here on out is entirely up to you. Let's show Lynx old Weaver still knows how to turn worms into shipbreakers, alright? Good luck, Cutter. Weaver out.
Alright, so I actually depressurized the wrong thing. You might think, well, you know, why would you depressurize it at all until you're ready to cut it open? But it's because when you depressurize it, you start using up your oxygen reserves. Alright, so we pop this panel off, which is, what is this? Titanium. So that's gonna go... Well, I guess I can... I've got tethers to waste, so we can... do that. I don't think you can break a tether. The only thing that bothers me about this reactor thing is it's like, they start melting down, but then as soon as they touch the grid, for some reason, they stop melting down. So yeah, this thing is not actually attached, just kind of sitting in there. Uh-oh.
There you go.
It would suck if it blew up right down there.
Credit applied.
So yeah, at this point, I guess we're done with the tutorial, and we're free to cut the ship up into sections as we want. So let's look around a little bit more, but I think we're going to call it before we finish with this, because, you know, it's just going to be a lot of the same cutting now. But I think this is really cool. Like, it actually plays well, you know. It's a simulator type game where there's actually a decent amount of to do beyond just go up to a thing and click on it. So I think this is definitely worth checking out. And I'm probably going to play through the rest of this campaign that is currently available in this version. And then, you know, maybe we'll come back to it once it updates a bit. So I'm not actually sure what I'm cutting here. I think if I cut these, the bottom panels will all come off. But I believe I could just cut the entire cockpit off. It's just, is it all made of the same material, you know? Or, like, should I cut these seats off and salvage those? Actually, do these just attach? They do. So I think, you know, we break down everything that's not just panels and we salvage that or process it. But I could definitely see this being very chill kind of game that you listen to a podcast and break down a ship. And occasionally violently die because you made a mistake.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Alright, let's see if we can salvage the ship. Or chair. Yep, I guess that is a salvageable thing. I wonder if it tells you if you put something in the wrong spot. It'll be like, nope, not accepted, or it'll just bounce off. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna keep cutting the ship down on my own, but thank you for joining me in this introduction to Hardspace, Shipbreaker. I'm not really sure where the Hardspace part comes from. I guess just because we're in the hard vacuum of space. But yeah, as I've said here, I think this is really cool, and I want to play more of it. So, I've been Shadefire, and I hope you'll join me for future space endeavors, where hopefully we don't have so much crippling debt. But until then, take care, everyone.